Today, we're talking about Gen Z, not all of them, needing mom or dad to be involved with job interviews. Credit card debt has hit its highest point in a decade.
Let's get this over with so I can go home and play my clarinet.
And doctors are taking a cue from the Rave community and using glowing dye to identify cancerous cells in patients. All in this top of the week episode of But before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out what's going on in the world around you. Now, first things first, let's talk about this new level of codependency going on between Gen Z and their parents. Some Gen Zs.
A new survey by Resume Templates revealed that a notable portion of Gen Z respondents involve their parents in the job interview process. The survey found that 26% of these young job seekers had their parents participate in some way during interviews.
It's no secret that landing a job can be a daunting task, especially for young professionals just entering the workforce. But, like Alice said, according to a recent survey by Resume Templates, some Gen Zers are taking parental involvement to a whole new level during the interview process. The survey revealed that a whopping 26% of Gen Z respondents actually involved their parents in the job interviews. Of those, 31% had a parent accompany them to an in-person interview, while 29% had their parent join a virtual interview session. For the in-person interviews, 37% of respondents said their mom or dad came into the office, and 26% admitted that their parents physically sat in the room during the interview. Which, who's that more awkward for? The employer? The interviewee? Obviously, this parent has no shame. Again, it's not just the in-person interviews where parents are making their presence known. For those who had virtual interviews, 71% said they had parents off camera, while a bold 29% had their parent visible on camera. Again, no shame, it's like putting the employer on notice or something, which, I mean, is nice in theory, I guess. You're never gonna get the job that way, you know that, right? Don't worry, it gets a little more cringeworthy. The survey found that the majority of the on-camera parents spoke directly to the hiring manager, which I don't really even know what to say to that. That's just wild. While the intentions behind parental involvement may be well-meaning, Resume Templates executive writer Andrew Stoner cautions against the practice. Him and everyone else that's had a job prior to. Quote, "It's understandable, parents wanting to ensure that their child does well in an interview or that an employer is reputable. Conversely, it's hard to see where a parent being directly involved in an interview is appropriate." Stoner went on to say, "It doesn't signal confidence to a hiring company on behalf of the child. I recommend a help at a distance approach of being available and advising a child during the recruitment process." So while parental guidance can always be helpful, maybe leave mom and dad at home when it comes to the job interviews. I mean, after all, you want to show your potential employer that you're capable of handling things on your own, right?
Credit card debt delinquency has surged to its highest level in over a decade, particularly impacting individuals aged 35 and under.
If you're struggling to keep up with those pesky credit card bills, you're not alone. Seriously overdue credit card debt has reached the highest point in more than 10 years, and younger folks aged 35 and under seem to be having the toughest time with it. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, a whopping 10.7% of credit card debt was severely delinquent. That's over 90 days past due if you needed some clarification. In the first quarter of 2024. Just a year ago, that number stood at a more manageable 8.2%. Remember, we're talking about massive amounts of money, so a single percentage is a huge number. Right, so what is a cash-strapped consumer to do? Bruce McClary from the National Foundation of Credit Counseling says that the first step is to reach out to a nonprofit credit counselor ASAP. These counselors offer free, non-judgmental guidance and can help you develop a long-term plan to tackle your debt. Nonprofits can also set you up with debt management plans with lower interest rates, nix late fees, and consolidate everything into a single monthly payment. Martin Lynch, the president of the Financial Counseling Association of America, echoed the same advice. But he heavily emphasized that these counselors are there to listen without judgment and help you find a solution that works for your situation, which sometimes the stigma of debt is what stops people from getting help in the first place. I mean, it's understandable. It's embarrassing. Absolutely no one wants to appear out of control of their lives. So don't feel bad. I've been there. Fuck, I'm still kind of there. I mean, aren't we all? Anyways, both McClary and Lynch encourage borrowers to negotiate directly with their credit card companies. After all, it's in their best interest that you pay before the debt goes into collections. So what's driving this delinquency spike? I bet you'll never guess. Well, factors like high inflation, rising interest rates, and the end of pandemic-era financial aid have been a strain on tons of households, especially for those with lower incomes or who are relying on wages that haven't kept up with rising costs. In other words, over half the country. The bottom line is, if you're struggling to stay afloat with credit card debt, don't go at it alone. Reach out for help from a professional, preferably the nonprofit route because they're not trying to sell you anything. Don't fool yourself into thinking you can do it yourself. You got yourself into the hole, don't be afraid to admit you need help. A little assistance can go a long way in getting those finances back on track. Also, check out Caleb Hammer if you haven't seen him yet. He'll scare you into doing it. Good time.
A new fluorescent dye developed for prostate cancer surgery helps surgeons identify and remove cancerous tissue that is invisible to the naked eye.
Well, this is cool. Scientists have developed a nifty new way to make cancer cells glow during surgery, and it could be a game changer for prostate cancer patients. The experimental technique uses a special dye that binds to prostate cancer cells, making them light up like Christmas trees under near-infrared imaging. In a recent study, doctors injected 23 men with luminous dyes before removing their prostates. As the surgeons operated, the glowing cancer cells were clearly visible, revealing even tiny strands that had spread to nearby tissues. It offered incredibly precise details on where the cancer was during the actual surgery, which is a first according to the researchers. By lighting up the bad cells, doctors are able to be much more thorough at removing every last trace of the disease. At the same time, they could avoid unnecessarily cutting away healthy tissue that controls vital organs like bowel control and sexual potency. No man wants to lose that. It's like taking the venom out of the snake. Blue Chew. Sponsor me, please. The goal is for patients to leave knowing that everything was done to get rid of their cancer while preserving their quality of life. This new technique could quite possibly make that a reality. Now, the special dye seems to bind to a protein commonly found on prostate tumors, but researchers think that it could work for other cancers too, simply by switching up the molecular target. There are also some plans to integrate the imaging system into robotic surgery tools, and if you set that up with some AI, then...
Doctors beware, you're in for a scare.
Sorry, had something in my throat. Oh, one last thing. Cancer Research UK, which funded the work, says larger trials are already underway to confirm the benefits of the new luminescence-guided approach to cancer surgery. If all goes well, prostate cancer patients may soon be seeing their treatment in an entirely new light.
Secret tunnel through the mountains. Secret tunnel. Yeah.
And on that piece of, oh look at that, there is some hope for the future, news, I'm gonna call it. If you made it here to the end, you owe me a cookie, or at least. I'll just see you next time. Bye.